Good afternoon, everyone. I, Chandan, on behalf of NEN and Wadhwani Foundation, would like to invite you all for this webinar and also introduce our expert, Mr. Harish Keswani. Mr. Harish Keswani is an entrepreneur, digital marketing expert, and marketing consultant. He is an established techno marketing specialist, having developed and launched multiple products, services across IT and telecom industries with more than 27 years of experience. He is an entrepreneur at heart and a seasoned business professional. Right now, he is the program director at Tonamal Sahani Center for Entrepreneurs. He is a business mentor and is associated with distinguished organizations such as TIE, India SME Forum, and so on. Before I hand over the floor to Mr. Harris, here are a few reminders for the audience. You will be all on mute. You may ask questions by typing in the panel provided to you. Over to you, Harish.
Yeah, thanks, Chandan. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Harish Keswani. I am an entrepreneur like most of you who would have been online by now. And entrepreneurship is a journey. It's not a one-stop solution. Similarly, marketing for entrepreneurs or marketing for small business is also a journey. I'm learning every day when I interact with young people like you, and even from the students we train and mentor. And I'm also learning from customers, I'm learning from my partners, I'm learning from the internet every day, every night, right? So there's no full stop, there is no full stop to learning anytime. What we are discussing today is about lead generation and branding. You would have had all the information about lead generation and branding with you. Most of you guys who would have been in business or who would have done some amount of sales or marketing in their careers would know that a lot of terms we would discuss now or a lot of topics we would discuss now is already heard of. It's nothing new. The fun is in the implementation. The fun is in how we take this forward and how we actually implement the marketing strategies based on step-by-step approach, which I think is the highlight of the day. So what I urge you guys is while I'm taking the presentation, please make notes. We would have more than half time available for questions. And in fact, I would love to answer as many questions as possible today before we end this webinar. So I will start with my few slides which I have for the first 20-25 minutes, and then I will hand over to Chandan to moderate the questions which would come up from you. So I hope I'm audible. In case somebody cannot hear us or has problem in seeing the slides, kindly do type in on the chat window so that we can act accordingly. So we were talking about lead generation magnets or the business magnet. What is this magnet? Magnet has a power of attraction, right? So what do we mean by attraction of leads? Let's get the basics clear. A lead is a person who has shown some interest in our company or product or service, right? And lead generation strategies are strategies used to attract and get information from these qualified prospects. What is this information? The information could be their email ID, their phone number, their contact information, and so on. And one thing is sure, that lead generation is a very rapid form of marketing growth for small businesses. So when we are struggling to get our business on track and we're looking in probably to expand it, go to investors for more funding, if we take lead generation seriously in our business, we get the first few live customers and a boomerang of customers after that, or a catapult of customers after that, the first few customers, if we are good at our product or service. So if we focus ourselves initially in our business on lead generation, let's say we give at least 30 or 40% of our working time on lead generation and attracting new customers, I think that is more rewarding than trying to spend 40% of the time hunting for investors. Because as soon as you reach an investor, the first thing what investors check is there any proof in the pudding? So is there a proof of the pudding in a sense what you are passionate about, what business you are running? Is it clearly translating into paid customers or revenues for the organization? One thing is the highlight for today's discussion is that we are going to focus on online modes of marketing more than the offline because past 3 years of my consulting experience and almost 50% of my customers are small businesses. I have noticed that online lead generation methods are more cost effective as compared to the offline or the conventional methods of lead generation. But does that mean we will go only online? No, we will not go only online. There is a marketing mix like any other business needs to have. All businesses need to have a combination of online and offline lead generation methods. But yes, the online methods are cheaper. So most of the new age entrepreneurs, especially the technology businesses or businesses where clients are online or prospective customers are online, are focusing more on the online lead generation method because they turn out to be, in my experience, around 61% or roughly 60% cheaper than the offline method. So obviously you get more bang for the buck and a better marketing ROI when we focus ourselves clearly on online. The rider is that our potential customers should be online. So that's where we come to the direction of taking hold of this big, huge magnet to attract leads. How do we direct it to? So which direction should we direct it to? The idea is that we first look at the charge of the magnet. In a sense, how do we take it to a potential full charge wherein it really starts attracting potential leads? First important part is that we should know our market. I have seen many entrepreneurs jumping in a business without knowing the accurate market size of the business they are in. So if I have started a business in Mumbai, let's say, how many potential people in Mumbai would be my customers if everything goes right? That is, if my price and my product and my service is absolutely rightly poised and of interest to them, how many potential customers would I probably acquire? What would be my customer type? Who will be this typical customer? When will he buy? What does he do before and after purchasing my product or service? Who are the competition who are trying to attract the attention of the same customer? So my magnet is also disrupted in charge by other magnets placed nearby me. So if my competition is putting up a bigger, more powerful magnet, then obviously we know that we will catch less of leads as compared to the competition. We also should know the factors affecting our business. So whether our business can run in the monsoon, whether it has, whether the people like to use the product themselves or they buy for other people, so on and so forth. We also like to track the disruptions. So any government regulatory impact. For example, if you have seen recently, some of the cab operators launched bike taxis, and in a couple of cities now the regulatory ban has come in on bike taxis because they are not registered, and all of a sudden the business goes on hold, and you need to replan. So there would be a lot of disruptions, either from the regulation perspective, in terms of bans, prohibitions, permissions, or in terms of competition taking a different route and suddenly attracting the customer in a different way. While we are studying these fundamentals in terms of preparing our charge of our magnet, we also need to calculate certain figures before we jump in into the actual lead generation. The first figure is net customer value. Net customer value is the billing we would do to a customer in one transaction. And there is some figure called as a lifetime customer value. This is a billing we will do this to the customer or revenue we earn from him over the lifetime he will be associated with us for. So it could mean additional services like annual maintenance contract. It could mean additional services like support service, so on and so forth. You would also need to account for your customer acquisition cost or the budget you need to acquire one customer, because that will set the budget for our online or offline lead generation process. We also need to know the tipping point. The tipping point is how many customers we need to acquire where our ROI will, marketing return would start making sense, or the money spent will be an investment rather than an expense. So these are the basic cursory checks which we need to do, and we need to actually take a pen and paper and note down all these things, which I think many entrepreneurs are short-circuiting. And trust me when I say that, you may feel personally that no, I am not that short-sighted and I wouldn't jump in. But practically, it has been my experience that entrepreneurs jump in into lead generation and start designing campaigns even before they've done this basic homework. As a result, either they overspend or they underspend or they miscalculate the whole investment part of marketing. Moving on, we also need to be sure that we are marketing the ideal service to the ideal customer for any marketing to give us return. So we as a marketer, when we go to customers like you or to businessmen like you who want to market their products or services, we clearly try to take the message in terms of what does your brand stand for? Do you have high integrity in your brand or a product or service? We also like to validate the problem or the pain area of the customer first and then validate your solution. So as a marketer, when I come in into your company and I would want to further your marketing ambitions, the first thing I would like to check is whether the problem area of the customer you have mentioned, is it validated? That is, can I see evidence that your customer has a certain pain point? So just as we say that I have a cure for backache, let's say, and I have this special electrical accessory which will relieve backache. So the problem area is that customers having backache would want an electrical solution to relieve their backache. This needs to be validated as a problem solution statement. Second point is that our value proposition should have some zing. Some zing in a sense, we should be at least either faster, better, cheaper, or all three of these for the related product or service. Because when we start preparing for the campaign and advertising and so on, we need to be clear what is that factors we need to highlight on the campaign. If in case we don't have a very attractive value proposition, then marketing investments take a longer life cycle and also take more money to basically achieve the same target. So as a marketer, I also want to see that my weighing scale with service definition on one side and customer needs on the other side is equally balanced. It should be in the favor of customer needs if it's tilted. Now, if you see, most of us tend to get overawed, especially the techie guys. I've seen they get overwhelmed with their features and they say, Harish, I have this feature, I have this feature, I have 30 features more than my competitor. And I ask him one simple question. What is the benefit this feature will be having for the customer? Or what will be the benefit which will be driven by this feature of yours to the customer? If it's not important or if it's not relevant to the customer, just forget it, push it down below, or just forget to right now, just forget it and don't advertise for this. So what we need to advertise, announce or promote are features which have clear desirable benefits for the customer. So if the customer has certain needs, let's say he wants faster delivery of certain products or services, and you can actually be faster, 20% or 30% faster than your closest competition, then the chances of our campaigns taking off and our magnets attracting leads are much, much higher. We become more powerful, our magnets become more powerful than if we don't, when we don't charge it with this information, or when we don't really put time and effort to charge the magnet with the feature benefits to it. So one simple example of a company, it's actually a pharmacy in US, which achieved a very high level of lead generation without really advertising. So what they did is they took a simple solution of people forgetting their medicines. So typically when my parents would be in US or they would be away from me, and if they are diabetic or if they have a chronic illness where they need medicines at a regular time, and most of the time I'm worried that they will forget their medicines. This pharmacy came up with a simple solution of pre-packaging the medicines at a dosage which has been prescribed by the doctor. And what happened was with their simple videos, promotions and simple promotions, they actually catapulted their business multifold just by improvising on what they were already doing. So they were already a pharmacy, right? They were already supplying medicine, but with a simple twist of packaging, with the right packaging and the right communication, which was not very complex, which everybody could clearly understand. They actually made a jump in their sales which was multifold. I wouldn't want to quantify today's time because this is a 1.5, 2 year older case study. But at the same time, this has always attracted me for the basic simplification of the communication, because most of the times we tend to complicate our communication rather than simplify. So the next slide is a video which unfortunately you may not be able to hear the audio of it, but just assume that it's some background music. There's no commentary. You can see the simple way in which this company has communicated its message. So in India, online pharmacies are yet to be regulated, but in US this is a very common practice. So fill pack is the simplest way of basically. Uh, Chandan, can you please mute your mic? So fill pack is basically a very simple way of uh, giving medicines or sending medicines across to your older parents, right? So let's come to the actual powering the lead magnet. How do we power this lead magnet? We power it by content, right, for digital, and content for offline. So what is that content? A simplest form of lead generation is somebody coming and visiting your website or a blog. This is a very simplest form, but for somebody to know your website address without advertisement or without any information available to him, it's a difficult task. So somewhere you should have communicated with him in an offline method, or he should have read about you somewhere to be able to access your website or a blog. And I'm assuming that the content is clearly what he wants to read. So to enhance that bare minimum method of being present um, electronically or online, what we do is we enhance that presence by adding something called as a search optimization, or SEO, what you must have normally heard of. And you need not pay anybody for this SEO. There are very simple tools and techniques now very easily documented by Google or Bing or any other search engine you're fascinated by. There are documented methods on how your website will rate higher or rank higher and show up higher on certain search criteria. And this is a very science now, and Google keeps, or the search engines keep updating the algorithm and tools and techniques. I'll speak about some presentation. But this is one simplest way of basically generating leads. Is one, have a good website or a blog, keep updating the content, which is contextual and which is what customers want to read about, and you optimize it for you to be easily found on the net. So what happens is when a person is searching for the relevant product, service, or the topic, he easily finds you through the search engine, and he can actually click on it and uh,
this ID, I have only this ID. That ID must be with Chandan because he is.
hello. Sorry. Yeah. So search engine optimization is a added method to your website or blog. The optimization adds to more traffic and the number of leads, the power received by a magnet is much higher to attract better leads. Also, if we add on by publishing newsworthy material and publish it online on free using free PR tools or using paid PR, that is, if my material, if my product, service or announcement is newsworthy and it really gets picked up automatically, or I need to push it through various online media to really make a newsworthy story. And when people are browsing through the web and generally reading stories, if they find my story, they reach me. And the credibility factor in this case is much higher. So the lead generation prospects are much higher than a normal website search or SEO. Then we come to social content sharing. So if I'm active on my social media, on my Facebook page, so obviously I need to have the basics in place, that is my Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter accounts in place. And if I keep sharing good content on my social media accounts, this content has a tendency to get viral if it's good content. Now, not every content gets viral. You would have been experienced by now to look at what gets viral and what does not get viral. So every content does not get viral, but at the same time, if your content is good, it's shared across at least the hundreds of people you would want to share across to. Another higher charged magnet is advertising online. So in that, we have advertising avenues available on Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, and third-party sites where we can put up our banner ads on. And now Twitter has introduced its own advertising platform, which are available to each and everyone, very low cost. So Facebook and Twitter are very low cost mediums, but it's a very widespread audience. So getting the right, searching for the needle from the haystack is a very optimum job to be done by experienced people. And if we have done our groundwork rightly, that is, if we have really charged our magnet properly initially with the right messaging and understanding the customer in the right way, then advertising works very well. And please don't get into advertising, paid advertising, which is a cash burn, if you have not done your messaging rightly. So if you have not understood your customer, his needs, and if your feature benefit story and your value proposition is not in place, I wouldn't suggest to even start advertising. The ideal best pumped up lead magnet is one which mixes all these in a right proportion. So while I'm updating my website or the blog, I also optimize it to be found. I also keep pumping in newsworthy stories of what is happening in my product or service, which is revolutionizing that category. I also keep sharing content in terms of which customers I'm meeting, how I'm satisfying them, what are the success stories, are the customers happy with my product, services, testimonials, case studies, speaker opportunities. I keep sharing this on social. It catches on. I also keep advertising in my own budget. My budget, remember, has come from my understanding of my customer acquisition cost and how much is my customer lifetime value. So if I valued my customer rightly, I would also budget my acquisition cost to include advertising, and I would do the right mix of all these things to really serve a very powerful lead magnet online. But is online the only thing to do? Obviously no. There are tons of other ways where we can charge our lead magnet. So finding and capturing the right customers requires the use of right tools. So indicatively, we need the right hammer to nail the customer, right? Or you know that if we need to attract these customers through a magnet, we also need to charge it rightly and use the right tools. What are the other methods apart from online? If you see, direct mail works very well for certain local businesses. Example is Tiny Owl, which is a food delivery service, which actually set its groundwork using direct mailers door to door before they even started their online campaigns. You need effective advertising, which can be offline also, which Craftsvilla has demonstrated in a way of advertising very less on the print, but advertising very leniently on the online world. There are referral systems which kick off very well. For you must have seen Uber and Ola are a big example of how referral codes of 100 Ps have really caught on and built a customer base for them. There is a host beneficiary relationship which we can utilize, which example is OLX and Flipkart, where they said OLX pe juna becho, Flipkart pe naya kharido, and something like that. I don't have the exact message with me right now, but you would have probably read about it, that dispose your old and buy a new one. That was a host beneficiary relationship where these are two entirely different companies really cross branding for each other. Word of mouth marketing, so I mean, I did not really expand on it. Everybody knows what it is. Telemarketing, Club Mahindra is one example where they really utilize the power of telemarketing. So they catch you innocently in the mall offering some free holiday, take your number, and then they chase you on the telephone to come up for a free seminar or whatever it is. Now, whether it's debatable whether you like to work it that way for your marketing or whether you would want it that way for your company, it's debatable. But then these are methods very much obvious and very much there for you to grow your customer base. Qualified list. This is used in education. For example, when we refer campaigns for our customers who are in education, the MBA schools or the B schools, typically we work on qualified lists. So people who have graduated this year or are going to graduate this year, there are many sources of these qualified lists, including some of the competitive exams you guys appear in or the students appear in. So qualified lists can give you option of approaching them online, email, or offline through telephone. So there are a host of options which open up and becomes a sensible way of marketing. Networking is one way where you can really pump up your lead generation. I have seen a local interior designer here in Mumbai, who's a good friend of mine. I think 50 or 60% of his business is now through referrals, and his primary network started from his association with BNI, which is a business network. I am not advocating BNI here, please. I'm just citing examples. And so once you have that basic 10 to 12 people in your network who recommend business for you, this 10 becomes 100 very soon. If you have continued with your reputation and if you have really maintained that quality of service and delivery, then circle of leverage is something which is now catching on. So there is something called as influencer campaigns, which we guys are doing online now. Now this influencer campaign typically is equivalent to your celebrity endorsement in the real world. So in the influencer campaign, what we do is we actually make a category influencer tweet or write about your product or service in the blog or on Twitter or on anywhere where the other users catch on to that celebrity. So if we have a celebrity who is relevant for your category of product or service, and if he tweets about you, overnight you get a very high level of interest in your product or service. And this is a reality now. There are celebrity managers or there are ad agencies who manage this on a daily basis, the influencer campaign. You become a recognized authority for a particular service category or so. So if I call myself as a digital marketing expert, if I take such opportunities such as this webinar or speaking opportunities or somehow communicate to the audience that I have a certain high level of expertise as compared to the other people, then I do get business from word of mouth or referral or any other ways once I'm known or I've been heard of. PR, news story, publicity. Entrepreneurs are love to get featured on yourstory.com, for example. That is one way where your story reaches the entire nation within a day. So if you've done good work, just on yourstory.com, follow their links, submit your story, and maybe in another 2 to 3 weeks you may be suddenly a national celebrity. It's as easy as that. Why I'm promoting your story is not my company. I am not being paid to promote it. It's absolutely free of cost for any entrepreneur to come in the limelight. So the idea is that there are a lot of such tools available, as long as if we know that these are the methods available, we would like to leverage it. Now, once you keep these checklists with you handy when you're marketing your product or service, your mind opens up to new ways of doing the same thing and probably cheaper ways of achieving your target of lead generation. There are special events which are done in local geographies to attract your leads. So it could also include discounts or it could also include sales. It would depend on product or the service category. Then there are short-term promotions like what all the online companies are doing. Either have a promotion on all Wednesdays or all Fridays, or have short-term promotions of a certain discount scheme running for a week or 10 days or so on, which works really well because you get a sudden boost of leads within that period, and you can for the next couple of weeks follow up those leads and close them effectively. Then we come to some other methods such as freemium. Now, what is freemium? Freemium is basically giving a free service and also having a premium service clearly announced to the people. So there are a lot of times where we can go and speak at a certain forum free of cost, spread your knowledge across your product categories, and at the same time make people aware that there are paid consulting options or paid services or products in the same category available. This works very well in the long run, though a slow process, it's not very fast. But if you continue doing this along with other things, many times this is probably a very good way of building credibility in the marketplace. There are back-end profits methods which we have, wherein you sell your product or service almost free. You don't charge the customer, but somebody else is paying for it. So just like you don't pay for the credit card transaction, the merchant pays for it, right? So they pay 2.5% or 1.5% to the bank or to the company who's processing the credit card charge. So there are always this free charges or freebies where the product or service you are associated with or promoting in the back end gives you a certain money or revenue for every customer you acquire for them. There are flyer pamphlets, which is quite normal. There are competition hacks. Competition hacks are looking at where your competitors, customers are going online or offline, and actually following the same path for getting new leads. There are exhibitions. There is a share the profits with channel partners opportunity, where you can franchise or you can have channel partners sell your service for or give you leads or pay them for the leads generated. There are contests and sweepstakes online, especially, which work very well. There are awards which you can institute for that category and become a leader, thought leader in that category by giving away awards to relevant people. There are product placements. So at the airport, if you have a display of your product or service for the elite crowd which you want to capture, so if your prospective customer is HNI, you can have a sponsored kiosk at the international T2 terminal or the airport, where people can observe your product or service. So that's a very clever way of placement. Other placement methods are movies and TV serials, where there is subtle branding being done now, or back-end branding being done on products and services, including the cookery shows. You must have seen the brands of rice and oil being promoted along with the cooking recipes. There are reactivation of old leads. That's one thing please don't ignore. If you have old leads which had died down, who did not become your customers, they still could be your prospective customers, right? Then there is also a direct sale method where you actually take up a list of named accounts or named companies and actually send salespeople out there to sell, right? Slow process again, but very penetrative in case your service is high-end service, costly service, expensive service. Billing per user is very high. Direct sales work pretty well because that much convincing is required for the customer to buy a product. There's sampling which works very well. So either sampling in the case of online world is the free demo or the trial period which we give, 30-day trial is also a method of sampling. Sponsorship works well. So if you sponsor a college festival and if you are a youth brand, 3,000 to 5,000 people at the college festival sort of see your brand at one shot, probably at a very low cost as compared to putting your ad in a newspaper. Seminars and webinars, these are another ways of basically being out there and attracting leads, right, about for your product and service. So there are tons of low-cost tools. I'll quickly browse through this before I close my session. Then I can open it up for Q&A. So for example, for creating a simple website or a blog, there are many hosting partners, including GoDaddy. Please be cautious that I'm not promoting any brands here. I'm just giving you examples, quick examples for you to be aware that the very easy methods now to do almost marketing almost free of cost. One is this website and blog. There are hosted services, including hosted WordPress services, where it's a guided hosting. You don't need to know the technology of WordPress. You can create your own blogs and websites almost at a low cost of 300, 500 rupees a month. There are branding opportunities, creating your own brand too, right from the visiting card to the t-shirts your staff wears or to the family. And other collaterals, including banners, exhibition materials, now available to be printed online with little expensive than the neighborhood printer, but worth it. Then there are free tools like Google Alerts, where you can keep a track of your competition. So just if your competition is, in this case, Food Panda, you can see that there is alerts which are tracked immediately by Google, almost by the hour, by the minute, where you can see what the competition is up to, and so that you can catch on and not be caught off guard. So do that regularly. Set alerts for your competition. There are free tools like Microsite Masters, which help you track the keywords. So this is, for example, a display of my keyword performance on Google. So if somebody searches for a digital marketing expert in Mumbai, I am ranked 39 on Google currently. I can track it very easily with this free subscription. I haven't even paid for it. Of course, if I want to do more, obviously I will need a paid subscription. So there are tons of things you can do even with free subscription. So this is tracking your performance online. Then there are tons of ways to design your ad material, including Canva.com, which is a free tool to design ad material, pamphlets, social posts. You need to pay only for some paid images, otherwise it's absolutely free to be used, including photo filters, beautiful styles of designing. You need not really go to your designer, or you do not pay BTP operators to design work for you. As to do it yourself, entirely doable. We marketers have been using it for probably months now. Not many people are aware of this, but Canva.com. But there are tons of such tools. I'm just mentioning one of examples. If you want to do social campaigns, social promotion, sweepstakes, contests, landing pages, campaigns which where your ads will be clicked and people will be led to, there are tools like InstaPage. There are tools like this Wishpond, where you can set up these campaigns almost by the minute. I mean, within an hour or so, you can set up a campaign without really paying anybody, or do it yourself. You can manage these leads and through and touch base with email campaigns using tools like Zoho campaigns, or there is an equivalent called as MailChimp, where you can actually track the success rate of your emails and your newsletters also. There are tools like Mention, where if people are discussing your brand on social media, if people are actually mentioning you on any channel, or including Facebook, Twitter, and all, you can track that mention on mention.com. The free tool gives you a one name mention. If you want additional names to be tracked, you need to obviously pay for it. Media tools like Hootsuite, which can actually help you manage your social media over a period of time, actually schedule your posts also, and see which post is working more, which content is working more among your prospective customers, which is pulling in more people, and accordingly, obviously, the more people are pulled towards it, the more higher the chances of our leads to be generated. So when I just to close my presentation, I would also like to highlight that while at one end we are pulling in leads and nurturing prospects and converting it to sales, please do not forget to maintain this delivery and satisfaction and continue upselling to your customers. It's very important that we track the customer on the entire life cycle rather than just grab him and forget him once he makes a purchase or a sale. And it has been proven that day by day your expenditure on lead generation will go down. The paid expenditure and your effort on lead generation will go down if you continue to keep happy customers happy. They will in turn reduce your expense of customer acquisition by automatically referring you to more customers or writing good things about you, which attract more customers anyway automatically. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. I leave the room open now for questions, which I can answer. Chandan, can you take over?
Thank you, Mr. Harish. We'll start our question answer session now. Our first question comes from Sapna, who is asking, is there a tool or any way to find out the lead generation cost for a F&B startup should be?
There is no tool which can tell you how much you should pay for a lead, Sapna. In a sense, different advertising mediums or different media would have a different cost of acquiring a lead. The cost will come from your own calculations, Sapna, which would be basically how much can you afford to get one customer into your organization. So the cost of acquisition actually comes from your own business plan. Your own business plan should calculate what is my customer revenue, how much is my gross margin, and how much out of this gross margin I am willing to come back as marketing investment. And in that marketing investment, how many other customers do I need to acquire? And divide by the number of customers which on your wish list. So the number of customers on your wish list divide by the total marketing investment will give you your maximum cost you can spend on a lead. It doesn't work the other way. It works on your investment, and based on that, you can make a plan on which methods out of all these we discussed actually sort of fit in into that cost again.
Thank you, Harish. Our next question is from Mr. Ajay, who is asking, what do we need to do to create the lead generation, need to focus on either the lead generation or creating a brand for my startup?
Brands are created over a period of time. So any brand becomes a reputed brand over a couple of years. It doesn't happen overnight. Overnight you can make a noise, but at the same time credibility of the brand gets established over a period of time. So I think startups need to focus more on the lead generation than building a brand initially. That doesn't mean we forget the brand. Everything we do right from scratch should be branded with our own brand and our own personality of the brand. But at the same time, we should not spend money on just branding ourselves. So that can come later. First, we should focus on acquiring customers, taking it, crossing the tipping point. Post that, then we can sort of have money in hand to spend separately on branding.
Our next question.
This is for startup.
Okay. Our next question is from Mr. Anand. Is asking what is the best way to promote app in specific sector before it's launched? I mean, especially asking launching, what should he
use the crowd? There are a lot of crowdsourcing websites where you can open up the app for select number of people who are willing to buy that app and try it out. Or you can actually do a limited time promotion using specific campaign pages or landing pages and attract leads to Google or Facebook or wherever, and just open it up for the first 1,000 people who are willing to acquire your app and give you feedback. That can be at a dirt cheap price for them, and later on you can open it up to the whole market on a higher price.
Thank you, Harish. Next question is from Shweta. She's asking, how can we promote our images ads on social media? Image ads on
So
social media.
image, yeah, so image ads on social media, if you look at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, every platform has a method to give to send sponsored posts or LinkedIn posts or Facebook posts or even Instagram posts which are sponsored. So it's the sponsored posts come as a mixed bag in the newsfeed of the customer, which can carry your image also. Of course, it has to follow the guidelines of the not too much tag the ad, and they have to keep it on a website or to your own property. It cannot be non-existing websites or not mentioned in your brand. So as long as we maintain the guidelines, these are wonderful ways of promoting our image ads. Google is also provides the display ads platform for the image ads, where you can even select which websites your ad should be displayed on. So all the mediums, all the platforms are friendly to image ads currently.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. Suman Kumar. He's asking, can you please tell the advertising method for the clean tech sector?
For the
For the clean tech,
clean tech, clinical technology.
right?
Uh, I would say any you as we discussed on our first slide, magnet. You direct your magnet by understanding where does your customer, sit across, waiting for your message. So if your customer is online, obviously online methods is the best. So depending on which sector of end customers are you dealing in. So if it's healthcare professionals also, let's say if they are a target market, luckily for us, all the qualified healthcare professionals are online today. So you can adapt any method, including Facebook, to get across to them and announce your product or service. This is a highly regulated sector. So I would say that the copy and messaging matches the regulatory framework in terms of what we are announcing, because I suppose we are not able to announce a magical cure for something or a technology which cures something online so easily. The messaging has to be more discreet in terms of welcoming healthcare professionals to try out or to experience your solutions which you are providing for the benefit of patient care. So it's basically with clever messaging, you can create content on the web first, either through a beautiful blog or you can create content now, tons of content even on LinkedIn and Facebook pages, which is useful for your target customer, and you engage with them. So the best way for engage with the target market, and business happens as a matter of curiosity.
Harish, our next question is from Mr. Subramaniam. He's asking, I get likes in FB but not converting to inquiries. I even write small blogs and post interesting topics. Uh, I don't know what is missing.
Okay, Mr. Subramanian, it will be difficult for me to really give you a solution without the topics and which possible areas you are blogging at or which medium you are blogging on. The idea is to get to the basics. If you look at which says that we should know where our target customer is. So we have to put our content, feed our content where he is reading or the right customer. or your content is not good enough for that customer. So it could be either way problem, that either your content is marked for this target customer whom you are reaching to, or the customer you are reaching to is actually a wrong customer. You're not the right customer for your content. So it would depend based on your advertising it. There's no generic answer or a generic solution for me. But I think going back to the side is, sort of really segmenting your customer properly and knowing his behavior as to where he is. For example, even the time he is online, if we want to pump in online ads and focus his attention on that, the time he is online is also varies from segment to segment. To give you an example, if I target project managers who are actually on site in real estate projects, uh, throughout the day they don't look at LinkedIn. So even if they are searching for a job or something, they actually look at LinkedIn only on Saturdays or later in the night. So there's no point of me trying to pay for clicks throughout the day because I'm not possibly reaching the right person. So depending on the category, for example, working mothers, or if working mothers are my target, there are specific times to get across to them where they are actually accessing LinkedIn or Facebook or something. Otherwise, as such, nobody wants to be interrupted with ads. So, or we get the wrong clicks from absolutely a free audience. So, people who have nothing else to do click on your ad and actually read your content where they are not the target. So, if we do it at the wrong timing, sometimes we catch the wrong audience. If we have the wrong medium, sometimes we catch the wrong audience, depending on where we advertise on. And if our content is wrong, anyhow, we don't get leads, even if they reach you. So it could be any of the three, and hopefully if your content is good as you judge by yourself, then either the timing of the promotion or the platforms you're promoting on need a little bit of tweaking. So
Okay, we'll take one last question. The question is from Mr. Suham. He's asking how to generate initial leads for a newly developed innovative hardware technology product, especially in the local market. Example, a metropolitan city. Is it a good idea to start locally before a pan-India approach through various e-commerce websites?
okay, so there are two questions framed in the single question. One is it good idea to start only in a city or should we start pan-India? Now it would depend on the window of opportunity available to us. So if we are a early mover and our product or service is really a wow product which nobody else has, sometimes only focusing on a local market makes us miss the opportunity on a national market, and we may miss the bus and the competitors may catch up on a national level when they see the success of your product service on the local level, because people copy ideas very fast nowadays. So that is one risk factor, but assuming that we have a good enough, long enough window of opportunity, then it makes sense to launch in a city first, which is the high probability city or a high density of customer city. It makes sense to do a pilot and then expand nationally. Any wise man would tell you if he's investing money in the campaigns is to try out a small pilot before you do the big thing. So as long as we have that time opportunity, window of opportunity, we should try out. Doing a pilot is always helpful in tuning our messaging before we go the whole hog nationally. That is one thing. Secondly, yes, if there are many good methods now available to target local markets, right from a Google search, which is more local friendly now and more mobile friendly and more local friendly, to local yellow pages, which some of the search engines, to local campaigns which you can do now on platforms. So, can you mute your mic, please? Hello. Hello. So there are all platforms now support single city campaigns. Luckily, now that stage has come. A couple of years ago, not all platforms supported it. But today, if you take, you name the platform, these are the obvious biggest ones, but the advertising is possible. So I can actually select men. I can tune it to a second or third level of demographic in a particular city. It's possible, let's say, to target target advertising only in Mumbai, only in Thane, only in Navi Mumbai also for that matter. It may not be 100% accurate. Geographic classification of campaigns usually succeed only to 90% because of the tagging of the mobile sites and so on. So sometimes you do get 10% outstation clients also or leads also, but it works at least to a 90-95% level. Local targeting is not possible to focus as on all the platforms.
Mr. Harish, I think we'll take one more last question. This question is from Mr. Deepak. He says, hello, Mr. Keswani. It was a wonderful insight and good idea that you have shared about marketing mix and tools to build the market. Could you give more idea on competition hack?
Competition hack is basically when you start small and you already have competition in that category, you sort of map what the competition is like. So some amount of field research and risk research is required in terms of how the competition is attracting leads and how is the competition attracting business. And maybe we can do that in a smaller way in our own budgets to do the same thing. So instead of reinventing the wheel, we can already see competition successes and failures and try to clone that in that if it's in the same category and close enough, we can actually clone that and not burn our hands by doing the wrong thing initially. Now later on, once we have our own good, we have our initial customer base already in place and nothing to fear of, then we can adapt our own strategies, different strategies from the competition to kill the competition. But this competition hack is only a short-term measure initially to look how competition is grabbing customers and try to clone a same modus operandi to get to your set of customers. So it's a short-term hack. It's not a longer-term solution, but for startups it comes very handy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Harish. Thank you very much. This was our last question. Thank you all our attendees for participating in this webinar. We are glad that questions kept coming in, but due to lack of time, we are unable to answer all. Also, if you found the session interesting, feel free to blog or post about it. The recorded version of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel soon. Thank you once again and have a nice evening. And specifically, I would like to thank you, Mr. Harish, once again for taking time and giving this, taking this wonderful session.
Yeah, thank you to NEN and thanks to all the participants for patiently listening. I hope this was useful to all. My email ID is there in the presentation for you to connect with me if there is any specific questions. And I'd love to answer them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.